Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We apologize for the technical difficulties related to the report. We'll start off our discussion right away. Your Excellency, Dr. Mongy, now, the Egyptian foreign affairs file is really inclusive of all affairs, all the whole relations with the international community, but with a very special focus within the African continent. And it's been going on for the past few years. Especially for 2023, it has been like high on top of the agenda. Now, how did Egypt, or what are the outcomes of extending the attention for Egypt within the African continent, strengthening the relationships with the other African countries?
Let me go back and mention to the history. Egypt is one of the founding of Organization of African Unity. This happened in 1963, and the first summit of Organization of African Unity had been done here in Cairo, 1964. Later on, Egypt used to play a very active role in Africa because Egypt is an African country. So our role calling for independence and opposing discrimination, making mediation effort, settling disputes, solving economic problems. For this point related solving of economic problems, I'm going to say very nice story. 1965-66, at that time, Italy used to import banana from Somalia. But at that time, because of Somalia used to be independence, so they punished Somalia by stopping importing banana. At that time, late Gamal Abdel Nasser instructed to import all Somali banana to Egyptian market. It's not economic at that time, but it's helping African country also to go away for independence, not only from military side, but also for economic side. This organization, it's not sufficient for the dreams of African countries. So Egypt again, they play very active role to upgrade this organization to unity, to African unity. So inserted Libya, 1999, Egyptian delegation proposed this African unity. In fact, at that time, what we mentioned, that we wanted to enable Africa to play a very active role in global economy. So at that time, our aim, economy, because our leaders understood at that time that we already finished a military colony. Now, the second stage, it's an economic colony. So they would like to set up independence in economic side. Okay. After that, Egypt already supported collective security in Africa. Therefore, Egypt keens the action at all levels to settle political crisis in Africa. 1993, Egypt proposed a framework of commitment. So Egypt announced readiness to receive a number of African missions to train them in agriculture, irrigation, industrial field. Meanwhile, Egypt expressed its readiness to send Egyptian mission to all African countries in the same field, especially African countries which suffer of food shortage, and also to develop their agriculture. We do not stop at that, but we need to make evaluation of African Union. Moreover, we introduced amendments of the Article 25 of African Unity, whereby Arabic is used as a working language. how many conventions we ratified with African unity. Now, I have the number that Egypt has ratified more than 20 treaties and convention. At this point, I would like to mention that Egypt, together with South Africa, Libya, Algeria, and Nigeria, has paid the main percentage of the budget. Egypt only pay 15% of the budget of African Union. This, it give you weight to lead African Union.
Well, Dr. Mongy, I mean, if we look at how, yes, a lot of historical events and a lot of background work that has been laid since the 60s, as you've mentioned, but then came a period of time where Egypt had a very weakened sort of relations with the rest of the African continent, and then it got back, especially with President Sisi, who really worked on emphasizing the necessity of strengthening the relations within the African continent. And Egypt is really sponsoring and mediating and dealing with a lot of African issues over the past years. Now, if we are looking at the integration of Egypt within the African continent, and you've mentioned that a lot of it is not just political, but also very much economic. And for instance, you've mentioned the story between importing banana with Italy and Somalia, and how Egypt politically and economically intervened as well. So how important is it to strengthen the economic relations as one way of solving many political disputes and dealing with a lot of political issues through economic means?
In this context, in fact, I would like to mention that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi announced the launch of Egyptian Agency for Development Partnership. This happened in El Malabo in 23rd Summit of African Union. This agency work to starting, I think starting at 1st of July 2014, and the Egyptian agency focus largely on the support of infrastructure. This number one. And also the major development project in Africa. Also, Egypt has a great experience in such a field of how many fields we expose to our brothers in Africa to cooperate together. Number one, communication, transportation, information technology, health service, agriculture, and energy. All these fields we offer to cooperate with African unity states. And also we have two channels of cooperation to give grants, and also in the meantime to have a joint venture with our brothers in Africa. In fact, also His Excellency President Sisi paid special attention to African countries, especially during Egypt chairmanship of African Union in 2019. Okay, let me tell you that under the former Gamal Abdel Nasser, Egypt played very active role in supporting liberation movement of African unity to struggle against colonization. Late President Hosni Mubarak was interested in Africa at the beginning, but until the assassination attempt against him in 1955 in Addis Ababa. At that time, we closed all files and we mentioned bye-bye to Africa, 1995. Okay, so almost how long? Almost 20 years.
Yes.
Most of the files are closed with Africa. And there is a general rules. If you leave your place, somebody else will come to fill it. Unfortunately, our place was filled by China, India, Turkey, Israel, and many other countries. Also, the military colony go back to Africa, but from the side of economy. So unfortunately, most of African economy, it has related to Europe and the States. And what we can do to have our role back, in fact, to exert a lot of effort. Otherwise, the conclusion will
Yes.
be not good.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, as Dr. Mongy has mentioned, Egypt really worked on regaining that vacancy that it abandoned really and left since 1995. Let's check out this report regarding Egypt's role in supporting the African infrastructure and strengthening the relationship between the African states. Let's check it out. We'll be right back.